are the Torah portion of Yitro. We're coming up. Well, we're continuing the story of Yitro, telling the father-in-law of Moses, giving him advice on how the courts of justice should be set. Shouldn't be just pending on him. And he gave the advice. And now let's see if the advice has been taken up by the Almighty. We are in Shmois, Exodus chapter 18, verse 24. V'yishma Moshe, and Moshe heard, he heeded, l'kel chaisnei, to the voice of his father-in-law, v'yas, and he did, kol asher omar, everything that he said, that he suggested. That's interesting. He said, go ask God if God is okay with this. Remember? Yesterday? And he just went and did it. Fascinating. Fascinating. I guess either, he consulted with God or he didn't, we don't know. Okay, V'yivcha Moshe, and Moshe chose Anshe Chayil, men of means, Mikol Israel, from all of Israel, V'yitain, and he placed them, Oisam them, Roshim, heads, Al Ha'am, over the nation, over the people. Sari Alafim, leaders of thousands. There was 600 of those, remember? Sari Meyais, leaders of hundreds. Sari Chamishim, leaders of, that was 600, 6,000, and 12,000. Chamishim v'sari asaris. V'shavtu esam, and they judged the people, b'choleis, at all times, as a davar hakasha, and the thing that was difficult, yaviun el Moshe, they would bring it to Moshe, davar hakatan, and anything that was a small matter, yishpetuhem, they judged it. Rashi in number 26, the Shavtu, and they would judge the people, should be understood according to Unkalis, Danin Yos Amma. They were judging the people. Okay. Yeviun, they would bring, that should be understood according to Unkalis. Masin, they were bringing, although it's in the form of future tense. Okay. Yishpetuhem, they would judge. So, it seems to be an unusual verb form. That you have a shuruk there between the second and the third letter. The third and fourth letter. Kama yishpaitu. It's equivalent that they will judge. The chaylem. Chen lo saviru. Similar to the word, a similar instance where you have a shuruk, an u sound, do not pass by. Kamoi lo sa'avayri. Okay, v'targumai, but Unkelis translates it, Dayanin inun, they were judging. Instead of they will judge, they were judging. Mikrais elyanim heim lashon sivui. Kach matugam v'yidainu yasin yidun. Therefore, they rendered in the future that they shall judge, they shall bring, they shall judge, because although lashon asiya. So he's saying that's an expression of performance rather than a command. right? That Yishbetu Haim, you could read it like that they should judge. No, it's not a command, but that they were judging. It's an unusual term. Verse 20, 27. V'yishalach Moshe es Chosnei, and Moshe sent his father-in-law, v'yelech lo el artzei, and he went off to his land. Rashi, v'yelech lo el artzei, l'gar b'nei mishpachtei, to convert the members of his family. He came alone. So he went off, right? Right. So, how does Rashi know this? Because remember, he was a righteous person, someone who took upon himself all of Yiddishkeit, right? So it doesn't make sense that he would go off, without God giving him the permission to go off to leave the Jewish people. Why would he do that? Except that he was on a mission to convert his family. So I think this is an instance. Let's see. We finished, so let's see what the Rebbe. Let's see if we have things from the Rebbe over here on what we just learned. If not, we'll go back on stuff that we learned. So I don't see anything on this. Let's go back maybe to yesterday. Let's go to verses 14 through 18. Oh, 1 second. Okay, there's a beautiful sikh over here. Let's do this. Yeah. Okay. So if we go back to yesterday, I'll do that here. So the whole story of Moshe's father-in-law coming to saying to him, "You're wearing yourself thin, right? You're wearing yourself down, and also the people have to wait. So it's not, honorable to the people." Like, we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. How come he didn't come to that? Follow the question? Like, he didn't understand that. He didn't see it for himself. Yeah? So this is a question from the Abarbanel, actually. Yeah, simple question. Is the question clear? Menachem Hillel, question's clear. How does that make sense? It's pretty simple that if you're getting worn down, right? And that that there's a lot and there's people waiting. So, bring in others to, right?
And was it a good advice?
Well, he accepted it. We just learned that, right?
Yeah,
we accepted it. So it's a good advice. So
advice,
right? So he accepts it. So then obviously it was a good thing. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, and how is it possible that he did not come to this awareness? Right? So the Rebbe explains like this. Follow closely. Shimalei, you got the question?
I have been paying attention.
So who wants to explain to him the question? Menachem Hillel, you want to explain the question?
Why wasn't it obvious to Moshe?
Sorry?
Why wasn't it obvious to Moshe? Because he had been helping all of his people. They were standing, and it was just one person, Moshe, helping all of them. Why wasn't it obvious to Moshe?
That he would get withered.
People to help him, to judge them.
That he needed more help. Right?
Why did he need Yitro to come and tell him?
Something he should come to.
Why did he come to that hour?
To come to it
Why
on
did
his
he
own?
come to that conclusion himself?
Yeah. As
He's
opposed to
standing
Yitro.
all from the morning till night, judging the people. They're waiting in line. There are hundreds of people waiting in line.
That's the question.
Can't handle it.
I guess we're going to have to ask Moshe.
No.
No, we're going to ask the Rebbe.
He was so
The Rebbe is bringing this question. The Rebbe is bringing this question from the Abarbanel. Okay.
I guess maybe he felt he was the only one qualified.
Yeah, but in the end, he follows his advice. He follows his advice, so obviously the advice was good advice. If it was bad advice, he wouldn't have followed him, right? He accepts his advice. So it's not as difficult. It's not rocket science. And even if it was rocket science, we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. He would come to it.
Maybe
You know,
he wasn't thinking of himself.
Some people,
He was
That's the answer.
some people,
Maybe the answer the Rebbe will give.
some people like to be the top dog, so to say.
Yeah, but that's good for the
And
Rashal.
they feel that they're the only ones who can do it.
That's good for the Rashal to answer. We can't say that about Moshe Rabbeinu.
Rashal doesn't think he sees.
No, but he's trying to be the top dog right now by answering. Trying to answer is trying to be the top dog.
Question.
Maybe he wanted to respect Yitro.
And instead you're giving an answer.
Maybe he wanted to respect Yitro by accepting his advice.
You get it?
It has to be proper advice. If it's not good advice, then he wouldn't take it. That you don't respect somebody by taking bad advice from them. That's not respect. That's being a fool, right? He accepted it because it was right. It was right. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. There's not a movement that's not truth. Everything about him is truth. How he doesn't come to this truth? That doesn't make sense. Right? You're thinking where you're coming from, where we're coming from. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, right? So we would play games. Okay, let me honor him. That's not truth. Either it's the truth and you do it, or it's not the truth and you don't do it, right? Okay. So we can't explain this simply that it was not the power of Moshe to judge the people himself the whole day. Can't say that. Because Moshe, no, there was nothing that was hard for him. He did not have to have any help. On the contrary, if Moshe, the one who received Torah from God, and he's the one fitting to teach it to the Bnei Israel, he's the one himself that could, then he was the only one that taught it to them, so he's the only one that could judge them. Simple. Right? Like I mean, you can make the argument, if you want, and the Rebbe doesn't say this, but you can make the argument, maybe he shouldn't teach it. Maybe some others should teach it. It's too much for one teacher. Well, he taught the whole people, so then he could judge the whole people. So you can't say it's not within his power. Right? Can't say that. The Lashon of Chassidus explains. Are you following? Moshe Rabbeinu received the Torah from Hashem on the level of Riyah, seeing. Right? In other words, he didn't hear God's message. He saw God's message. In other words, it was so real to him, right, that the message that usually, someone tells you a message, right? Now I'm telling you a message, right, from the Rebbe, telling you a message. You're hearing it. You ain't seeing it. Moshe Rabbeinu heard the message from God on Mount Sinai. He saw the message. it was so with great clarity. It doesn't mean he saw words. It means that the teachings were so clear, so real, so emphatic, so obvious that it was like sight. Okay? Is that clear?
That's why you say to someone who made something very clear to you, I see what you mean.
Right. Or if it's not so clear, no, I hear, but it's a little more distant.
Right.
Therefore, follow folks. Right. Therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu, he wanted to give to the Bnei Israel that they should receive from him the Torah on this level, on this high level, which is higher than hearing the message of God, see God's message. He wanted to give that over to them. Right?
The answer?
No, 1 second. That's the beginning of the answer. Right? The words of Yisro, on the other hand, weren't like that. They were not based on the capability of Moshe. They were based on the capability of the people. Right? And what's their capability? They could hear the message. They could hear the judgments of Torah from the word from the mouth of Moshe himself. So Yisro, his taina, not complaint, his concern, his taina, he argued against him. It's not the right word. I can't think of the right word now. That when the people will stand in judgment concerning their matters that are personal, they're living on a distant spiritual level from the level of Moshe. This is not within their capacity, within their strength to receive and to learn the judgment of Torah on the level of Moshe Rabbeinu himself. They're not going to be able to do that. Right? And what's Moshe's level? Seeing the truth, not just hearing the truth. So he's saying they're not on your level. They're not capable of this. They're not capable of when you will make the judgment to them that they will, oh, I see the truth. Because remember, we're talking about a plaintiff and a defendant, right? He owes me money. He gave me a word, and each one's got a personal stake over here. So when they're going to hear the judgment, they'll hear it at best. They ain't going to see the truth in it. Why? Because there's a me involved there, right? Moshe, on the other hand, wasn't concerned of this. He knew that also he also knew that these people were on a lower level. He wasn't foolish. He knew that they're not where he's holding. He knew that. Right, that the plaintiff and a defendant are coming to stand before him, that they're holding by a level of now wanting to hear a judgment and see the truth. They're coming to hear their side. They want they want their truth, right? Not God's truth. That's where they're coming, right? Because if you were already seeing God's truth, you probably wouldn't go to court. You probably wouldn't go to court, but you're seeing your truth. Which is fine. That's where people are living. Moshe knew that they were living there. He understood that. But he felt like this, that when they're going to stand before him, he has the power to elevate them to a higher level, his level. It's like when we stand before the Rebbe. We are what we are. But standing before the Rebbe, we all feel elevated. We don't think the same way. We don't act the same way. We're elevated. So therefore, they'll be able to learn and to receive the Torah from him without having any other judges, because he will elevate them. Ooh, powerful. Right? But in the end, Well, he's interesting. He says over here, in the end, God was siding with Yisro. Yeah. The Rebbe says here that God was siding. I don't know where the Rebbe says that from, because remember I asked the question earlier. Moshe went and did. It doesn't say he consulted with God, right? He did according to his father-in-law. I guess it's a given, and that it's not a question according to Rashi. It's a given. You get following everybody. So why would God stand with Yisro? Listen to this. Wow.
So, Tracy, you have the answer?
I didn't give the answer. I'm giving it.
Okay.
There's a whole process over here to give the answer, right? There's a step by step, right?
Better to see than hear.
No, Moshe knew where they're holding, but he knew that if they're going to stand in front of him, that he's able to elevate them. So then, and why in the end is God agreeing with Yisro? Right? Why? Not because Moshe couldn't do it. Not because future generations, when the Bnei Israel will enter into the land, Moshe is not going to be with them. He will not be teaching them the Torah. He's not going to be their judge. They're going to get it from students, and student in every generation. And they won't be able to do it. So therefore, the system has to be set up in such a way that it's not you're elevating them, but you're judging them where they're coming from, as Yisro said. Psh, what amazing. Oh, wow.
Thinking in the future.
Because of the future. In the present, Moshe could have done it all.
Yes.
Not a question.
It would have been the best thing for the present.
For the present. But Torah has to concern itself for all generations, right? And they're for all generations, right? But now we have a question. But Moshe doesn't know about future generations?
Yeah.
Huh? That's going to be needed?
But did he think he was going to Eretz Yisrael?
Oh, where is this happening?
That's later.
No, where? No, when did this happen? Before the sin.
Or
Well, actually, that's not according to all opinions.
Yeah.
Because this, according to Rashi, it's not, and not according to Rashi. When is it? This happened after the day after Yom Kippur, right? They already sinned, right?
What's the majority opinion? Is it?
That was nice and good, Hashem.
I wonder if the majority opinion is this happening before or
So, there's a footnote over here, and it's actually from Torah or from the Alter Rebbe. I don't think it's not from the Sikha, not from the Sikha. So that would go only according to one opinion. According to the opinion that this all happened before Matan Torah, right?
Okay.
So therefore, they didn't sin yet. So therefore, Moshe would have gone in with him into Eretz Yisrael. So it wouldn't be a problem. Psh, unbelievable.
In that perspective.
From that perspective, yeah. Followed? Folks, you got it on, yeah? Wow, how powerful is that? Okay, let's see another thought. Shimelebi, you got it? Huh?
Sorry?
You got it?
Sort of, yeah.
Moshe Rabbeinu could do it. It's not because he didn't have the power. And he not only could he do it, by him doing it, he's going to elevate the people that they will be able to appreciate the truth of the judgment, see the truth, rather than, remain with their truth, right?
But in the end, by acquiescing to Yitro's suggestions, he gave up that.
So then the question is why? Because that's true now.
So at what point was he really needed? He was only really needed for the very difficult cases.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the point here. That's not the point at hand. That's not the issue, right? That's not our discussion. Our discussion is why then does God agree with Yisro? The reason why he agrees with him is because now Moshe could do it, but in the end he's not going to be in the land of Israel. Well, then you'll have future generations who don't have his capacity, and therefore we have to create a system that will be able to judge the people in the manner that is necessary for all generations, right? Not everybody's, the judges are going to be Moshe Rabbeinu, who are able to elevate the people that they should see truth.
So basically,
At least they should hear the truth.
he's training a new group to emulate what he's doing.
Yes and no.
Succession.
There's no answer here, it's just a question.
In long term.
Okay, let's go into another thought. So at the beginning of the parsha, right, look at the beginning of the parsha, the very first Rashi. Go to chapter 18, verse number 1. So Rashi says, V'yishma Yisro, on the words V'yishma Yisro Kohen Midian, so that Yisro heard the Kohen of Midian, right? So Rashi says, Mashamu Shama, what is it that he heard? Right? He heard. So Rashi's asking, what did he hear? Ubo, that caused him to come. So Rashi answers, Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea, and Mechamas Amalek, and the battle against Amalek. Clear? Yeah. Shimon Leib, come join me down here. The elders should be, together with the rabbi.
Truth is, I'm waiting for a phone call, so I'm expecting a call.
So in the meantime, come here. So the Rebbe asks a question.
I put my hearing aids up to near the maximum so I can actually hear what you're saying.
Give me air.
The Rebbe asks a simple, obvious question. I think I mentioned it on Sunday when we learned this. Why is it that these two instances are what aroused Yisro to come to Moshe, and not going out of Egypt itself, and all the great miracles that came together with that? I mean, what's that? Furthermore, why does Rashi bring these two occasions together? Meaning, no. Because in the Talmud, or in the Medrash, Talmud, it's actually two different opinions. It's two different opinions. One says Kriyas Yamsuf, another one says they are fighting against Amalek. And Rashi makes them as one, as if one opinion. But the source where he gets it from, now remember Rashi's simple meaning, right? So he doesn't have to learn it the way the Talmud learns it. But the fact that Talmud learns it that way and he changes, we need to understand why. Clear? Question clear? Shimon Leib, I'm making a phone call to you. Let me call you maybe. I think that's the way it works. It's called Earth to Shimon Leib, who's now living on Mars. He's now living on Mars. Rebbe explains.
You have to be today.
Huh?
I said
I'm after you every day. I love you. I love you.
Right for my wife, thank God someone does.
Huh? Your love of your wife it gives you even more, gives you more of a chelik than I do. She gives you much more than I do.
If you love me after 25 years of putting up with me, that's pretty good.
Okay, so therefore we have to explain that according to the opinion of Rashi, specifically bringing these two things together is what caused Yisro to come. Specifically the two. Now there's according to the Talmud, each one, it was one thing that brought him, right? One opinion says the splitting of the sea. The other opinion says it was the battle against Amalek. According to Rashi, simple meaning has to be both. Obviously, that's what comes out from here. Now, we need to understand that, but that's what we have to take out, right? So, the splitting of the sea caused the exaltedness and the importance of the children of Israel, the Israelites, in the eyes of the nations. Like the verse says, Shomu Amim Yirgozun, the Mu'oy Kol Yeshvei Canaan. Right? In Oz Yashir, in the song to God, right? What do we say? That the nations heard and they got frightened. Right? In others, they got frightened by what happened by the splitting of the sea. They melted the hearts of those who dwelt in Canaan. Right? That's in Oz Yashir, as we say every day, right? On the other hand, no. The battle against Amalek actually affected something the opposite. What is that? It weakened the greatness and the importance of the Jewish people in the eyes of the nations. As our sages say, and Rashi brings down, that, well, actually, I don't remember if he brought it down. No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, he does. Okay, he brings it down, but in Deuteronomy, because we have a repetition of Amalek, the mitzvah of blotting out Amalek in Deuteronomy in Parshas Kitzeitze. There he says it, not in our parsha. What does he say? That it's like a hot bath. A hot bath, a really scalding hot bath, no one wants to go into until the first person goes. The first person who goes in, what do? They make it easier for another person to do that, right? It's always the first person in that makes it easier for the rest of the crowd, right? They pave the way for others to do. This is the same thing is Amalek was the first one to start up with the Jewish people. He paved the way that others, look, you could fight them. They got defeated, but just the fact that they started up with them, the fact that they were, whoa, you could wage battle. Okay, maybe you won't do such. You won't have such a but it weakened their the image that people had of them. Yeah, exactly. So when Yisro heard this, he wanted to bring back, because Amalek happened after the splitting of the sea, right? He wanted to bring back their glory and their honor as it was previously. Therefore, he came to the desert in order to praise openly the greatness of the God of the Jews, of Israel. And with this, it would exalt further the glory and the greatness and the exaltedness of Bnei Israel, in the eyes of the nations, when they will see Kohen Midyan. Wow! And Rashi brings down Kohen Midyan. Why does he bring down the words Kohen Midyan? Yishma Yisrael. What did he hear? What's it got to do with these Kohen Midyan? Why would Rashi bring that down? Follow the point I'm making? Pesach, you got that? Hey, guys, Put away your phones. Focus here. It's such a pity. You have sichas of the Rebbe that you can learn. Oh, it's so gewaldig. So, why V'yishma Yisro? What Yisro heard that brought him, right? Why is Rashi quote from the verse Kohen Midyan, that he's the priest of Midyan? What's that got to do with anything? It's what he heard. It's not who he is. No, it's who he is. Because what is he trying to do? Bring back the glory of the Jewish people the way it was prior to Amalek. Amalek brought down the glory of the Jews because you could fight them. Because even though they lost the battle, but the fact that, you could start up with them. They're not invincible. They're not untouchable. Invincible is the wrong word. They're touchable. They're not untouchable. That's what came out from Amalek. The opposite of what the splitting of the sea is. He's coming to the desert is to show, because he's Kohen Midyan. He's the big idolater. He's the big, and he's coming to show that, no, where's the glory stand? With the Jewish people. Where's the greatness? Stand with the Jewish people. Wow. That he is now in agreement with the Jewish people and with the God of the Jews, that and so much so that he's converting.
It must have had a
Well,
great impact.
you know what? I never saw this sikha before. Unbelievable. A whole different take on those words.
It must have had a huge impact of him converting, because he was well known and he was an important person.
Yeah. And that answers more why the Torah portion is called Yisro. When it's speaking about Matan Torah, it's talking about the Jewish people getting their marching orders. What are you calling Yisro? Call it Moshe. Call it Moshe. Because the whole point of Matan Torah is to take from darkness and transform it into light. To take from a jungle, an ungodly world, and make it into God's garden. Right? That's the whole point of why God gave us a Torah. Who embodies that? Yisro. Not Jewish. The Kohen Midyan, this big idolater who knows all of the idolatries, and yet he converts. That's the ultimate transformation. Moshe doesn't embody the ultimate transformation. He's holy. He's holy from birth, right? He was in the basket. The basket was full. Not that he was born. The house was full of light. He was holy to begin with. He doesn't embody what the whole idea of Matan Torah is. Yes, he's the giver of the Torah, but he doesn't embody the whole purpose of it. Unbelievable. Wow. Got it? Wow. You can't sit in your skin now.
Now we know why he went back also, Yitro, why he returned.
So now, yeah. Because he accomplished, by coming, he accomplished by doing that. But now he's going to accomplish it even more so. Wow, it fits in so perfect. Yeah, thank you for that. Beautiful. Fits in so beautiful. Where are you going back? Stay with the people. No, because he's not about, he's not going like, people want to go to Israel because, they want to sit in the light of God. Right? No, he's got a mission. He want to transform the world. That's what he came out to the desert to transform. That the ultimate idolater should come now and recognize God and bring back the glory of God of the Jewish people as it was by Kriyas Yamsuf. Wow. So he's got a mission.
He became Chabad.
He is Chabad. We're all Chabad. Just we don't always act Chabad. That's the only difference. Wow. Unbelievable. Beautiful.
There's also a modern reflection of all of this, that the Druze, who are friends of the Jews,
Right.
consider that they're descendants of Israel.
Really? Oh, that's fascinating.